We were 14 years old. We lived in Hawaii, and we lived in a small efficiency apartment. And my mom and I came home, and I'll never forget, the rent was $180 a week. And there was an eviction a week, and there was an eviction notice on the door. And this was the one. It was the final eviction notice. Like, that's the one. My mom started crying, and I never forgot in that moment. It was a seminal moment for me because I felt like I never want to be in this position again. What can I do? So at 14 years old, I thought, well, the heroes in my life, Muhammad Ali, for example, professional wrestlers, they're all men who have worked hard with their hands and they built their body. Yes, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do what my dad taught me and these other heroes. I'm gonna go build my body so we're never evicted again. But being evicted, by the way, as you were saying, has not only given me just great perspective, but also great gratitude, but also, and my team and my family, we laugh at it, but I feel this way, like, oh, well, you know, we're a month away from being evicted. I gotta go to work. Like, I still have that in my head.
You still have that.
I still have that in my head, you know, but it keeps you grounded, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I that's why the most this and the most that, again, it's wonderful, but the alternative is what I once was. When I had a dream, and that dream was to play professional football. I fell in love with the game of football, played at University of Miami. We had great teams. We won a national championship. My goal was to play in the NFL. Again, because we didn't have a lot of money, so I wanted to be the first one to buy my parents a house, buy myself a house. I never lived in a house until I was 29 years old. And the dream didn't come true. I didn't get drafted. I didn't get any offers, nothing. I had to work up in Canada, the Canadian Football League. And when I was cut from there, I had, my dad had to come pick me up. And I'll never forget, we were on I-75. He lived in Tampa, came to Miami, got in his pickup truck. We drove up I-75. And I'm 23 years old. I am forced to move back in with my parents, which I was, you know, because you want to tackle the world and you have all these dreams, and none of it came true. And it was also hard because all my friends around me, those teammates, they were NFL stars and they became millionaires buying their parents a home. You know, that's the thing, you want to buy your mom a home. So I said, I wonder how much money I have. I took out my wallet and I had I had a 5, a 1, and some change, and at least I rounded up, optimistic. So I thought, oh, I have $7. The gym for me and this physical activity is my anchor, and I always, you know, I would recommend that for all of you guys in the room, is for us to find that anchor, whether it's hiking or biking or yoga or meditation or whatever it is. Because for me, the gym or just some sort of physical activity, it anchors my day, and then it allows me to go on and work for the rest of the day.
So it is a spiritual practice for you.
Well, it's way more than just physicality.
Yes.
It's way more than just picking up a weight. It is my balance, it's my anchor, it's my spiritual anchor, mental, because what it allows me to do, it's the only time for me that, and we all need this, because this treadmill of life, there's no stop button, so it's so crazy. It just allows me to block out the noise and clear my head, think about what I need to do or accomplish, or think about the things I need to accomplish without the influx of information and people trying to tug at me and pull it.
That the most powerful thing you can ever do is to be yourself.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you were talking about that earlier, about that moment that you learned to be authentic, is when everything changed.
That's when everything changed. It's like a shift and click moment for me, when I realized there's great power in being myself, same thing for all of us. But I believe it's the most powerful thing that we could be. It's easier said than done, because I struggled for a long time trying to figure out, well, what's my identity and who am I? And for example, when I got to Hollywood, the very first time I got to Hollywood in the early 2000s, I was told, again, well, if you want to be a star, then maybe you shouldn't talk about wrestling, maybe you shouldn't go to the gym as much, maybe you shouldn't raise your silly eyebrow, and there was a lot of things like that. And when you don't know, you buy into it. And so I thought, okay, well, maybe, so don't call yourself The Rock. Okay, so I went through that entire process for years trying to figure out who I was. And then when you look back on my earlier career, the films I was doing, they were good, but just not you know, where like, oh, that's how I like to see him because he is his true authentic self.
Every night before I went out because I was not able to be myself.
Sensation of the year. Rocky Maivia, Intercontinental Champion, and yes,
my very first WrestleMania, the biggest show of the year, the Super Bowl of wrestling.
It's not just all luck, is it? Well, this is Rocky.
That night, 20,000 fans started chanting "Rocky sucks." It was a sobering moment, and that was the beginning of the end of my initial run in the WWE. A few weeks later, I tore a tendon in my knee, and I was out for the rest of the summer. And I came to the realization before I went back that it wasn't me, personally, that they didn't like. It was that I wasn't being me. I wasn't being real. I wasn't being authentic. Who is this guy in wrestling who's smiling when he's getting beat? A few weeks later, I got a call from the WWE, and I spoke to Vince McMahon. He said, when you come back, we could continue to shove you down people's throats, or we could turn you heel because they want to boo you anyway. I said, I think it's a great idea. And I said, before we get off the phone, I have one request. I said, when I come back and we go live, I just need 2 minutes live. Me talking to the audience live. 2 minutes is all I'm asking. He said, okay. Yeah. A couple of weeks later, I came back. We were on live TV. I grabbed the microphone. Fans were already booing. They started chanting, "Rocky sucks."
In arenas across the country, I heard chants of "Rocky sucks."
I said, I may be a lot of things.
Well, Rocky Maivia is a lot of things.
But sucks isn't one of them.
But sucks isn't one of them.
In that moment, The Rock was born. And about a month later, I was the hottest heel in the company. And things were on fire. And the greatest lesson about that is be you. Be yourself. Whether it's in entertainment, whether it's out in public, whether you're a celebrity or not, whatever. And the most powerful thing you can be is yourself.
Have you had a sweet revenge moment?
Yeah, who sucks now, huh? No. Yeah.